directly from from Vedavyasa, all writings, and then he made a big scripture called Bodhayana Vritti. So to understand it, to study that, and to understand the real heart of Vedavyasa, and then he wanted to present the Brahma Sutra Bhashyam in an understandable manner for everybody. That is what actually Ramanuja made later, along with his disciple Kuresa, on the name of Sri Bhashyam. Then people came to know about Jeeyar Swami, because Jeeyar Swami from south, he went to extreme north, and then while coming, he visited all the places, like he went to Muktinath, he went to Dwaraka, that means on the west, he went to Naimisharanya, that's on the east, and again he came. So he moved all around the country and made people understand what the real essence of Veda and Vedanta is. That was Ramanujacharya. During his period, he made so many acharyas who are instructed to give the message of the Vedas, the mantra and the sampradaya to anybody, whoever is interested. Whoever is interested, that's very important thing. Not just, just he threw it like, just a bread piece to people, come on, eat. No. Whoever is interested. The seekingness is very important. So if one is a real seeker, yes, he can definitely get without any other mandatory, any other qualification as such, what caste he belongs to, what creed he belongs to, what sect, what section he belongs to. These are immaterial, for what Ramanuja said. Whoever is very much interested, whoever is dedicated, that person can always be accepted as a real Vaishnava. That's how he accepted a very, very strong wrestler called Dhanudas. We know the story. So Dhanudas was a wrestler, fascinated to the eyes, to the beauty of the eyes of his wife, and just he was holding an umbrella whenever she comes out. Ramanujacharya understood what exactly his heart is. Other people were criticizing that person, but Ramanuja said, that's wrong. Understand what he is and then do something good for him. So then Ramanujacharya invited him and he said, I will show you beautiful eyes if you are interested. He said, yes. Then what do? I just surrender to them if you are able to show. Then Ramanuja took him to Lord Sringanatha because of the yogic powers. He showed Ranganatha's the bewitching eyes. And we also go there. We also see the same eyes. But for us, nothing appears. Even the existing eyes also we can't see. But for him, because of the greatness, because of these yogic powers of Acharya who is just standing next to him, he showed the beautiful eyes of Lord, by seeing which he said, this is what I'm really searching for. This is the end of my journey. I got it. And then just he wanted to quit everything and dedicate to the eyes. Then he said, no, you have to take care of family. Because she's a great devotee. So she's helping you in really understanding God, in really serving God. So then he made him to understand about the values, and then he started protecting God. It's beautifully said, that he made him in such a way. While Ramanuja going to Kaveri for taking a shower, he used to hold the hand of his one of the acharyas. But while coming from Kaveri after the snanam is over, he used to, rest on the shoulders of that Dhanudas, and he used to come. Dhanudas was so dedicated. He was so great Vaishnav. You know, there are so many stories about his dedication and his devotion, not only just to God, to all servants of God, not only to Bhagavan, also to Bhaktas, to Bhagavatas. You know, our devotion should come down like that. First target is God. If you are really dedicated to God, you come to His feet. And whoever is at the feet, you offer serve them. And the Bhaktas will be at His feet. And Bhagavatas will be at their feet. So when you are really dedicated to God, means you come down to the Bhagavatas and you will be dedicating to their feet and serving there. That is the real devotion. That is the ultimate result of our devotion. Dhanurdas was 100% committed to that. So Ramanujacharya used to rest on his shoulders and then he used to come back to the mud seams. We understand how revolutionary Ramanuja's ideas were. So Ramanujacharya, in those days, when there was no question of democratic ideology, when there is no question of talking about the socialism, when there is no question of anything communalism, communism, what do you call it? Not communalism, but communism. In those days, Ramanujacharya accepted the so-called Harijans, who people today call as the neglected class of the society, which are called as Harijans. Ramanuja accepted them all and took them to the Lord's temple in Melkote, in Karnataka. It was actually, it was not at all heard of before. So Ramanuja accepted them to enter the temple up to Dhvajastambha in Melkote, and then the Sathari was given to all of them because they were really dedicated to God. Having taken wonderful snana, taking Panchasamskara, taking the Urdhva and then they come to the Lord service. So all they were allowed into the temple and take the Sri Sathari of the Lord. Ramanuja was the one first who broke the taboos of the old days. And allowed them all. So many things done by Ramanujacharya like that. But after that, as the time passed by, again so many taboos started, making society into pieces. But God, of course, always having His own plans and His own ideas. So many acharyas came later, but again their prachara, their activities were almost confined to a very, very limited places, only to their own parts. And again, after 1,000 years, when God blessed a great Acharya like our Acharya, we are so blessed to call him as our Acharya, and that great personality appeared on this earth when it was under the ruling of Britishers. And there was a big freedom movement, fighting was going on. Swamiji started his life participating in the freedom movement. Of course, when he was very young, a great miracle happened. It seems, actually he appeared in a city called Kakinada, which is on the sea coast. Swamiji appeared there, and on 7th day, when actually the mother is holding it, because in those days they used to deliver the babies in home only, not to the maternity hospital. Actually, some lady used to come, midwife. Yeah, she used to come and then she used to deliver the babies, and that's all. They used to be in home only. So all the things they used to attend while the lady is in home, up to 21 days, they used to observe the things like that. And on 7th day, it seems, the mother was just, there was a window. Actually, the mother delivered the baby in a very small house. That was a very small house where actually the parents used to live. So in that place, next to the window, she had a cot on which she was taking the baby and just was sleeping. She woke up suddenly. And it was so surprising. It was sun, just rays were falling in the room from the window, through the window, and a serpent was just widening its hoods and then was standing like that, as if it is just protecting the baby. Mothers, I think, what do you call the Paiprana Paine? Oh, yeah, she was so scared. She just can't move. I think we know how the situation will be then. We feel like crying, yelling, but words never come out. Never come out. We feel like just running out. We just can't move any part of the body. She was suddenly, so as if she received a shock. She was not able to move, not able to say anything, and the serpent was just standing like that. And the baby's head was just beneath that. And it was probably an inspiration that you are Adisesha. She did not see that serpent as a serpent, that's the greatness. Please, just go without any harm. I named this baby after you. And it was amazing. Within a few moments, the serpent slowly just withdrew his hoods, and from the window it just disappeared. Then she started yelling. Then people came into, and then they saw what happened. Serpent. Voice was not really, coming, but she said, "It is serpent." And what happened? This is what I said. I said, I give your name to this boy, and please disappear, please just go. And the serpent just left the place. The great people of the day said it is probably the Adisesha. So Adisesha has taken the name, taken the form of a mountain called Tiruvengada. So the Tirumala. So let's name this boy after Tirumala. So his name became Tiruvengadacharya. So Swamiji's first name was Tiruvengadacharya. So Tiruvengadam is the Tirumala hill on which the Lord is standing. So it said probably to show that this boy is going to do the services to the Lord like Adisesha. As Adisesha did service to Lord in multiple ways. Nivasa, Seyya, Asana, Paduka, Amsuka, Upadana, Varsha, Tapavarana. See, all the services done by Adisesha to the Lord. In the same way, to prove it, again, when he came in the form of Rama, then he became Lakshmana. And practically, to understand people like how a real servant will do the services, Lakshmana did several services, right from his birth time till he disappeared from the earth. He was with Rama and all the services while he was in the kingdom, the forest, or anywhere else in that sense. And to prove that, how the services to the Lord ought to be done. Again, probably he thought it was the need, so sent our Acharya. So his name became Tiruvengadacharya, and just he was growing there. Actually the mother who gave birth was called as Chudamani. mother was Chudamani, and he was just growing as a nice boy, but he was very brilliant and so wise also. From the childhood onwards, actually he started studying. In those days, I think probably all of you must be knowing, very, very orthodox people. Not like us, just go anywhere, eat anything and do anything and be like that. That was not the system at all in those days. The orthodoxy was so staunch in those days. Even they used to wash the fire. Nippuni kuda kadugutaru. That was the situation in those days. So that young Tiruvengalacharya was there in Kakinada for a few months, that's all. Then actually his father was the Tahsildar of those days. So he was a very big Jamindar. And he was actually working in Madurai, in Tamil Nadu. So this boy was taken to Tamil Nadu. So he was growing there in Madurai, I think probably up to his the 8th year or so. So actually he was growing there only, and there he learned the Tamil and he studied in school, and there actually he was doing all his the preliminary education he did there. But again, as the father transferred to Bandar, so again in Machilipatnam, so he came back to Andhra Pradesh along with his father, and of course then the father passed away due to some health problems. And then this boy has been adopted to another Tahsildar of that Machilipatnam, So he got very good property, so much wealth. Actually, there were 3 children along with this Tiruvengalacharya. There were 2 more children. And the first child was the elder one, and the second also was the elder, and I think probably this was the last. So when that Tahsildar of Bandar, by name Krishnamacharya, who wanted to adopt a child because he had no children, got a lot of property but no issues. So he wanted to adopt a boy. When he saw this boy, Tiruvengalacharya thought he was really a nice guy. But he wanted to adopt, and mother said, his mother gave this boy as an adoption to Lakshmi Narasimha and Krishnamacharya couples. Thus Swamiji became Akula Mannada Chilakamarri. So actually that is called as the Budumbai Kudi. The Kudi is very, very prestigious, seems. So from that actually Swamiji has been adopted, and since then all their properties were in another place called Attamuru, which is in the East Godavari. So there again Swamiji moved, and he was just growing there, because the father who actually adopted him also passed away. And this boy became very, very responsive for all the properties. But unfortunately, there also again, some of his relatives, they wanted the properties. And Swamiji was such a person because he appeared in which year? Saumya. So he was very Saumya. Saumya means very cool, always cool, not very much aggressive as such. So if somebody wants, I want this, come and take it. He never says no. No question of resisting anybody, no. So he was very cool. So when they wanted the property, he said, take it. So the property, most of the property, because they wanted the properties, they went to the court and stuff like that in those days. So he said, no court, no question of arguments and fighting for the wealth and stuff. Just you want it, just take it. So with whatever the property he was having in and around Attamuru, most of the property probably belonging to them anyway. So the property in Machilipatnam and other places there was just simply left to those people, and he was happy with whatever he was having in the East Godavari. So there, yes, he was confined. During that period, because it's a small village, and there were so many droughts also in those days, then Swamiji used to go round the farmers, because from his crops also he used to collect some hay for the cattle to feed them, because it was what you call that disaster famine. Very, very no rains at all in those days. I think what I heard is even mothers used to sell their children. See, in those days, I think probably 1920s, sometime like that. It was very, very severe famine in those days. So people were suffering a lot, it seems. Probably I think none of us, even know things like that. So he used to go round and he asked one bundle of hay for 1 acre. Can you give like that? So he went round the farmers and he used to collect the hay and store it in one place, and that's how just he used to take care of the cattle. And he started an organization called, Go Samrakshana Samstha. Go Samrakshana Samstha. And then he used to go around the Harijan colonies. Harijan colonies in those days were just very away from the main village or main town. They used to keep them far away place like that. And they used to live in very, very small huts. When once it seems the whole colony was burned for the Harijans. And he wanted to give his own property. And he constructed 128 Akka houses in that area. And then he gave them to all the Harijans. Relatives, they used to always scold on him. You are wasting your property. You are just giving him everything. 1921 seems. Mahatma Gandhi came to India tour. So he went to the South India. And while returning from South, he visited that East Godavari also. When Swamiji met with Mahatma Gandhi, 1920 means how many years? Maybe 12 years by that time. 20 means, 10 plus 2. Yes, a 12 or 13-year-old boy. Being a 13-year-old boy, he met with Mahatma Gandhi and he took a signature of Mahatma Gandhi also. That signature was in a big photograph. Gandhi's photo was there, and beneath that there was a signature. For signature he used to collect 5 rupees in those days. Can you imagine? For 1 month they used to spend maximum 1 damdi. You don't know what damdi is. I think 16 annas was 1 rupee. 16 annas was 1 rupee. And 1 anna means 4 kanis, 4 kans, And 1 kan, I think maybe having the 6 or something like that. It was like this. If you take 1 damdi, you can maintain the family for 1 month. You can get so many things. That was the value of those days. In those days, Mahatma Gandhi, for putting a signature, he used to collect 5 rupees. Understand how much it is, according to the calculation. But it's for the freedom movement. That's how he used to collect. And Swamiji Tirvengadacharya went there, gave 5 rupees, and he got the signature also. The signature was, till recent actually, we used to have with us. And maybe now, I don't know, someday. So, his interest, when Mahatma Gandhi wanted to have so many youth for the sake of country, he was very much interested in going for the freedom movement. He was doing things like that. From behind the curtain, he used to support freedom fighters. That was how Swamiji started his life. He was studying, of course. He was studying in the school. He used to go to the school, study there, the English stuff. And then he used to go to some scholars like Mandali Venkata Krishna Shastri. Mandali Venkata Shastri. Mandali Venkata Shastri was a very famous Tattvic scholar of those days. Saripalli. Saripalli is a small village in West Godavari. And in that village there was a great scholar called Mandali Venkata Shastri. He was very famous. I think probably the Kanchi Senior Acharya also was the disciple of that person. So at that Acharya, Swamiji also went and joined in Tarkal, and probably Swamiji was the last batch. Swamiji and Gopalacharya Swami were the last batch. During that period, he used to continue his the Shastra Adhyayana, but school Adhyayana, and along with the freedom movement. When there are some freedom fighters in need of some money, he used to supply the money. They are in need of some medical help, he used to provide it, because he was having links with the Tamil Nadu also. So Madras was the time, actually very big medical assistance used to be provided from Madras in those days. There was a great person who participated in freedom movement called Bhayankaracharya. His name was Bhayankaracharya. Probably he was belonging to the Pratibhad Bhayankaram family. But people used to call him as Bhayankaracharya. And actually he was sent to Andaman Islands. He was caught up with the Britishers because there was a big case against him. In Kakinada, during the freedom movement, they prepared a bomb and just they throw it against a collector, district collector. That is very big scene. Big collector means nowadays just like the Prime Minister. He was enjoying so many powers, and on that collector, this Bhayankaracharya threw a bomb. In preparing the bomb and making it and planning, everything was Swamiji. So he was not ever in the front line of the movement, but whatever required, because if people are in the front row, automatically they will be caught up, they will go to the jail, and the movement will be stopped. So he always preferred to be behind the curtain and give any support that's required, all support that's required. He was just giving the money, and he was making everything to happen. And any medical help, he used to take them in the mail, because there was the train was mail in those days. Directly used to go to the Chennai, Madras, and then it is called actually Channapattanam in those days. So they used to take them to the Channapattanam, give any medical assistance required, bring them back to the movement and put them in the movement. That was actually his mission. But whenever he used to go like that, and when he come back home, his mother never used to allow him to enter the home. He has to stand at the outdoor, and then she used to bring 3 pots full of water and put them just water directly on them like that. Sajala Snanam it is called. Sajala Snanam means, not leaving the dresses and taking Snanam, no. As you are, thus you have to just, take a dip. And then they used to drop the water totally, take some turmeric powder mixed up with water and just sprinkle on them, then go and take Snanam again inside the home. So orthodox. Every day he used to go, and every day he has to receive the Snanam. In spite of all these things, he used to continue his activities. So that is how actually, when the person, the Bhayankaracharya, was caught up with the Britishers, after that they throw the bomb, but it damaged a few things, but collector was escaped. And later he was caught up, and then of course he has been sent to the Andaman. Even today, if you go to Andaman, there is a big jail. There is a big central jail where all the freedom fighters were kept. All the names were reading. And then you can find the Bharankaracharya's name also there. All whoever were there, their names were written later. So this also was one of them. Like that, Swami used to support the cause. And when Gandhiji said in a Khadi movement, he used to engage all the people in making the cotton threads, Khadi cloths, make the Khadi cloths and keep them on the back, sell them for the freedom movement's purpose. That was actually what he was doing. You know, he of course got married at the age of 14 or so, and he used to make his wife also to make all these things. You know, in those days, ladies not supposed to come out of the doors. They were very, very restricted. Rules were there. You know, Parda was very strict in those days. In spite of that, Swamiji used to call her also along with him to come to the the Khadi cloth sales. Everybody used to criticize and object, but Swamiji said, this is for the sake of country. We want to do it. We do it. That was his commitment for the country. Thus, actually, he started his life movement. So many activities were done for the sake of freedom of this country, and so much. I think probably so much of his property was sold out for the sake of country. And when he was 26-year-old, his wife actually passed away, giving birth to 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter. But surprisingly, he was in Chennai by the time in these movemental activities, and then after giving the birth to the last daughter, she was actually not attended by the doctors properly, so that made her to leave the life. Then he thought, I should make my children doctors, and they need to go to the villages and serve the people. In those days there was no MBBS. The course was not at all introduced. There was LIM and NMP. L, Licensed Indian Medicine, for which I think everybody used to go to either Chennai or to Calcutta. In 2 places only the courses were taught. So Swamiji sent all his 2 children and also the one son-in-law, all the 3. He sent to Chennai and made them study medicine. The last son actually was not interested in medicine, and he became a business person, a commerce person, so like that. When he lost his wife, then he thought of just giving the whole thing and becoming a sannyasi. But at the age of 26, then he thought this is not the right thing. Unless I get rid of my responsibilities, I am not supposed to take sannyasa. So he was waiting to get rid of the responsibility and marrying the children. All the 4 children, he wanted to get them married, and then he wanted to take the sannyasa. But since then, he was studying and he was doing the movement and also doing the pracharam of the sampradaya. When he was, it was 1922, after meeting with Gandhiji, Swamiji met with a great scholar called Gopalacharya. So our Gopalacharya Swamiji actually was the friend then. And when he was going to the Takta classes, and Jeeyar Swamiji also went to him and said, hey, it seems that you are studying Takta, that's correct. Yes, of course. Then can I also join in your classes? That's what he asked. That's how the friendship started. Then I have no problem. So if you are interested, then can you take me also to your teacher? Then okay, come on. That's how Swamiji went along with him. But Gopalacharya Swami is already senior. Gopalacharya Swami also was, a great poet. Actually, he used to live in Guturu, basically. And he used to study in the regular schools. When Gandhiji said, quit all the schools, English studies, then he stopped his, the regular schooling education, English education, and then he focused on studying the Shastras. So he was studying the Tarka Shastra. Swamiji also joined along with him Tarka Shastra. And then Gopalacharya Swami was senior, and Jeeyar Swamiji was the junior. So after the class is over, then Gopal Swami used to teach him whatever that day's subjects. That's how they used to in those days. In 1935, he built the Harijan colony, and then V.V. Giri was the then labor minister during the British regime. Then he was invited to open this colony. That year actually Swamiji came to Prayag because the Asti Nimajjanam and other things have to be done, for which he came to Prayag. But during that year, there was a big Kumbh Mela in which thousands and thousands of people died. The bodies were kept like a big heaps covered with the tarpaulins. So many people died. By seeing that Swamiji's heart, oh, this is the life. Swamiji wanted to quit the what you call that, the world, and go to Himalayas and do something there. But again, the responsibility of the family. To get rid of all the responsibilities, he was forced to take some more years. Till 1954, he was, doing the Grahasthasana dharmas, but studying the Sri Bhashyam in one place and studying the Bhagavad Gita in some other place, and doing the Prachara. In those days, there were so many scholars, never used to come out. If at all they come out, they keep one student there and just they read and he reads. That's how they used to do the things. But Swamiji organized Visishtadvaita Pracharaka Sabha, a big organization, and he used to invite all the scholars, give them topics, speak on these things before the audience. They don't know how to speak, how to give a discourse. They know, they read the pankti, they read the line, exactly they give the meaning, they give the purport. That is the way actually they used to, subjects are to be taught. But first time Swamiji said, no, this is okay, but this is for the learning purpose for the students. But for the common man to understand the Sampradaya, to come to the common line, we have to speak something, the essence of this speak. Then the Acharya started learning how to speak, how to give his courses. So, where they kept all the books in racks, they removed all, they cleaned the dust and started studying the books and giving these courses. Every month, one sabha. Every month in one place. That's how he used to conduct the Masa Sabhas and Rutu Sabhas and Varshika Sabhas like that. Started in probably 1938. The first one started in Korkunda in East Godavari district. Till today, actually, they are conducting. They continue the tradition, they did not stop it. One side, that was going on. And another side, this freedom movement was going on. When the salt movement took place in India, I think that was 1941, the Uppu Satyagraha. Then Swamiji just wanted to quit and just go on and participate and join the movement. But it was the Gopalacharya Swami who said, I am so sorry, I don't want you to go there. If you go there, here I sit in hunger strike. 3 days, Gopalacharya Swami was not eating anything. And then Jeeyar Swamiji said, okay, for your sake, I don't want to go there. Why Gopalacharya Swami stopped him? He said, for the sake of country, there are thousands of people. For the sake of Sampradaya, there is no one. So Sampradaya needs persons like you. So if you also go and join the country movement, and I think you will be one among them, but for Sampradaya, we lose everybody. So be here. And we have, country gets freedom. If not today, tomorrow. It will happen anyway. But after movement, after freedom, how people have to live. Freedom is not a big task. But after coming freedom, if you don't know what our sampradayas, what our systems are, then the whole thing will be lost. So for doing the Sampradayic Pracharam, we should be preparing ourselves and we should make some more people so that they continue the mission even after the freedom we acquire. Then Swamiji accepted and came to this fold, and then he totally started dedicating his life for the Sampradaya. When in 1942, there was a person called E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar who just burnt the Ramayana, he tore off Ramayana, and then he led a procession in Tamil Nadu on the roads with all his political movement, like we have to break it, we have to burn it. And he led two movements, it seems. One with Pillayar is the Ganapati, one with Ramayana. The slogan he had was, Pillayar Tengai Vadakarada, Pillayare Vadakarada. That means, should we break coconut to Ganesha, or should we break Ganesha himself? That was the movement. That was how actually giving slogans, he led the movement. Actually, one person who was in the movement in those days was very recently passed. His wife is still there, of course. One Ediyar. You know, he was a very recent. He was there. He was very close, intimate to the Ramaswamy Nayakar, and of course later he turned as a good Vaishnava also. He took Samasranam and he was with us for long. And he used to tell all the stories. And when they said like that, they insulted Ramayana like anything, you know, in a big procession. When Swamiji saw the news, he wanted to do something. What is this? Insulting Ramayana is not insulting someone, it's insulting the human. Because it's not some epic, it's not some made-up story. It is the history of the man on this earth. So if it is insulted, the man on the earth is insulted. To avoid that, we have to do something. Because he did a big mistake. And we have to do some atonement for that. Swamiji went to Madras and said, come on, in which street he led the procession, in those streets, let us do another procession chanting Ramayana. They said, do you want to live? You come and go, but we have to live here. So we don't want to go. Then Swamiji came back to Andhra Pradesh. It was not Andhra and Tamil Nadu in those days. It was only just one state in those days. So Swamiji came back and asked some scholars here. 300 scholars were ready to join Swamiji. And with all of them, Swamiji went to Tamil Nadu. It took a bit of time, of course, because of his other activities also were there now. So that was during 1950s. So he came back with all of them. It was 1949-50, something like that. With all the scholars, he went to Madras and he wanted to perform the Ramakartu. But nobody gave him a place there. There were so many chowdhuries exclusively for this purpose, but nobody was ready to give any chowdhury to Swamiji. Because, you know, if this cause is supported, I think we will be, killed here. Then Swamiji said, it's okay, you need not give any place. We will do things like that. He made the payment, just cloths were tied up in the panjad, the turmeric powder. He washed the cloths because the Diksha Vastas are to be given. So he soaked the cloths with turmeric water and dried them on the pavements. There only he used to make a room with the cloths. For all the Ritviks, 300 Ritviks, that is the place to stay. And whatever the food there, only milk and bananas was the food. Because nobody gave any room. 3 days or 4 days they were like that. Morning they used to finish the aradhana, the payment itself, take some milk and then go in the procession chanting Sankshepa Ramayana with all the scholars. Morning and evening, 2 times they used to go. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Then local people started gaining some moral strength. Then they came to Swamiji and said, Swamiji, we also join. And then some Chaudhary people came and said, hey, Swamiji, we give our Chaudhary, please come. We said, that's okay. We are comfortable here. Then they pleaded like anything, and of course they took all the Ritviks, because it doesn't look nice, people scold them. So then it was done for 27 days. As a mark of that event, even today in Chennai, there is a Gita Mandiram, which belongs to Kondu Ramanujacharya, very, very famous Ramayana scholar of those days. His house was purchased. In that, there is a pillar constructed. That pillar was totally covered with silver. Totally. The only pillar is still standing as a witness for that activity. And 27 days, the program was done very well, well received. So many people participated. Everybody was happy. That's how Swamiji did. He was never, afraid of anything. That was the boldness Swami used to have, because we are doing for his sake. And if something happens, that is insult to him. And when good goes, that is also for him. So why should we fear? Why should we have any fear? Come on, let's do. That was the case Swami was doing. And he wanted to take sannyasam in 1954. Then he wanted to take the sannyasam from Vanamamalai, Totadri. He went there and stayed there for 18 days. They did not give ashram. They said, if we give ashram to somebody, again, they might come as hires. So we don't want to give to anybody. 18 days, Swamiji said, I don't need any all these things, because we have plenty of things there for us. Why should we come and, fight for properties and wealth here for matters? And I am not a person to be confined to a mutt. I want to do things around the world. But the Jeeyar was not at all accepting. And Swamiji was desperately, it was painful. After 18 days, not knowing what to do, they were just simply coming out. And then a Jeeyar, who was in Sri Perumbudur initially, but gave up that and came to Srivilliputturu and was staying there, saw Jeeyar Swamiji and said, what do you want? Why you are here? And he said, this is the purpose I came, but I was not given. And he said, if you have no objection, then I'll give you. Swamiji said, this is the God's instruction. He said, okay. Then that Srivilliputturu Jeeyar, he gave, actually who belongs to Sri Perumbudur Mutt, basically. So he said, because you wanted it from the Vanamamalai, let us take this from the duties. So he made the Kashayam and Danda, and he took them to the Lord of the Totadri, sanctified them, and then with Ramanuja, sanctified again, and then he has given. So a lineage must be continued. It should be there. So from that lineage, actually Swamiji got. That's why our Kaviratna Gudimanda Ramanujacharya Swami beautifully made in that Ashtottara Satanama, Totadri Harisanvidhya Labdha Kashaya Bhushita. So nice, actually, he made it. And that's how Swamiji taken Sannyasasram 1954. Immediately he went to Badrikashramam and he performed Koti Havana Mahakratu. And before that, actually 3 years he did penance there, but that was the 4th year. And he performed 10 crores, that is 100 million times Ashtakshari Japam with almost 300 scholars. And 10 millions of Havan was performed. That was the first of its kind. Nobody knows, nobody heard of such activities there. That was the first time a train was led from Vijayawada to Rishikesh. The first train linking south and north, a travel train. So it was done. Swamiji did it, and it was well received. After that, of 1954, Swamiji was thinking constantly. We did a small prayashchittam for Ramaswamy Naika's misdeed, but still that was not enough. We have to do something more. And then Swamiji decided to conduct 108 Ramakratus, each for 20 days. That means it takes 9 years to finish. The fire that was light up first day should not get extinguished till the last day. All the 9 years it should keep burning. Started in 1960 and ended in June 1968. But still, after finishing 108 kratus also, he made another probably 20 more kratus, because it was continuing like that. So till 1969, probably end of 69, we were just doing all the Ramakratus. And 3 of 108 performed in 3 jails. Because Madurai, where he was living earlier, so in Madurai Central Jail, there was a Ramakratu. And Rajamahendri, which is the center for the activities in the Rajahmundry Central Jail, another Ramakratu. Berhampur was a place of all so many Vaishnavites. Since then, even today. So in Berhampur Central Jail also one Ramakratu. 3 Ramakratus were done there. And in Banaras Hindu University, there was a Ramakratu Stambha which was done. And while the Kratus were going on, then the Vanamamali Jail invited Jeeyar Swamiji also, and then said, perform one Kratu here also. One Kratu was performed in Vanamamali. So in almost so many places the Kratus were conducted. It was conducted up to 1969, and during 70s Swamiji wanted to, because he studied Bhagavad Vishayam, he wanted to perform some Santi for that. He studied Sri Bhashyam, he wanted to perform some Santi for that. So in Sri Perumbudur, he conducted one Bhashya Goshti, where he invited all the Bhashya scholars and gave them honors. In that big Kratu, Anandaracharya Swamiji was the great scholar participating in that. And for Bhagavad Vishayam Srirangam, Eid Goshti was conducted in Manavada Mahamuni Sannidhi. And in 1972, Swamiji performed one big Kratu on Tirumala Hills, 1972, with 1008 kundas. Lakshmi Narayana Sahasra Hom Kunda Kratu, the first of its kind in the history of the Vedic law. A Kratu performed with 1000 kundas. Never done. None cannot ever perform such a big exercise. Swamiji made it. But before making it, TTD was objecting Swamiji not to perform this big, because no water. Swamiji performed a Karya Ishti just for the sake of rain. Then the TTD people believed and they accepted to perform a big Kratu. The 108th Ramakratu was conducted on Tirumala Hills. And this 1008 Kundas Kratu was conducted on Tirumala Hills. That's how it became so famous. Not because of Raj Venkateshwara. Because in those days, everybody was knowing Swamiji because he was in the political field, so much involved with the politics. Because he was one of the main persons in the freedom movement. If Swamiji would have come to this spiritual line, Probably he must be a president or Prime Minister of India. He was have done that also, but Swamiji never opted for that. When the Badri Kratu was going on, then the Badri temple people gave a big time to Swamiji, not permitting the things, because they put so many hurdles. It was because the Babu Rajendra Prasad was the president of India then, who was well known to Swamiji. He gave instructions, and the Supreme Court judge, one Iyengar, who was that? Who was that Iyengar? Vedugopal? Our Supreme Court judge ga undevaru Supreme Court judge evarayna?
Jagannath Das. Jagannath Das. Speaker understanding also. Nehru Speaker understanding Jagannath Das.
Speaker was Anand Sena Iyengar, and judge was Jagannath Das, who was a Telugu guy, and all known Swamiji very well. So because Swamiji was actually tolerating, he was not at all using his influence at all. He wait till the last moment when the TTD, the Badri temple people were causing so much problem. As the last resort, then he used his influence. He sent a word to Jagannath Das and Anand Sena Iyengar, and then they gave instructions, do all sorts of cooperation that is required by Jeeyar Swamiji. No question of putting any hurdles. That's it. Then the Karatu went on very well. It was. So that was Swamiji, actually. So in 72 again Ramakratu was, the Lakshmana Kratu was done. By seeing that we chanted a few mantras and it rained wonderfully. And Swamiji thought, let us find out how many Vedas are still there, and we need to protect all the Vedic literature. To make a search, then he appointed one person, ఆయన ఎవరండి మీ వేదిక్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్కి ఎంక్వైరీ చేసిన ఆయన one great scholar, actually, of course, who అనంతాడు ఆయన ఉండేవారు ఎవరు ఆల్ ఇండియా వేదిక్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ సెన్సస్ తీసిన Annadurai Iyengar was actually the one who was appointed to find out the details of all the Vedic scholars across the country. And then they made the census, made the survey, got the information. About 2,400 Vedic scholars and almost 500 Divya Prabandha scholars, because Divya Prabandha is considered as Tamil Veda. So, All India Vedic Conference was organized in Ramlila Maidan of Delhi. And that was for 12 days. That also was first of its kind. All the 3,000 scholars were invited to Delhi, and it was so beautiful organized. I heard, I didn't see all these things, just we heard it. For each state, one township is constructed. For Andhra, for Tamil Nadu, for Kerala, for Karnataka, for Gujarat, for Rajasthan. Vedic scholars coming from different states, having different food styles. So, separate tents. In the tent also for Vaishnavites one, for Smartas one, for Madhvas one. Because again, all these people, they have their own orthodoxical practices too. So they should be protected. They should be given proper care. So like that, Swamiji organized the things. Copying this in 92, after 20 years, Vishwa Hindu Parishad made an experiment in Prayag. Of course, they invited us. We went there. They took us round again and showed, as your Swamiji did in those days? No, see, here also we made, for Andhra people this, for Tamil Nadu people this, for Karnataka people. They could not do that much, in spite of so many things. But in those days, Swamiji, I think, made so many arrangements. Even today, the participants speak about that 73 Varni Vedic conference. Swamiji gave Navaratna Malas to all the Vedic scholars. And Swamiji gave Tamra Patras to everybody, to all the Vedic participants. So many the Smarta scholars participated, so many Vaishnava scholars participated. The Kanchi Pratvan Bhayankaram Jeeyar Swami made the head of the Sabhas. So many Smartas objected that. A Vaishnava who do not know Veda, I think they want to become Vedic chair, we don't accept. They made a big queue. Then Jeeyar Swamiji was requested by Swamiji, come on, you have to put our sampradaya here now. Then the records are there. Jeeyar Swamiji said, okay, that's fine, come on, let's all sit together. I ask some questions, you answer from Vedas. You ask questions from Vedas, I answer them. It was a real, discussion in public. And then all the Smarta Vedic scholars who think that they know everything, they asked a few questions from Vedas, all they were answered by Jeeyar Swami. And then he asked some questions from Vedas, could not answer. And then he gave answers even to them, proved that here is, some knowledge which is still not known to those people. Established that well, and then the Vedic conference went on peacefully for 12 days. Actually, Swami did not invite Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister in those days, in 73. Swami did not want to invite her because first he went to V.V. Giri, having known him since 1930s. Swamiji, because V.V. Giri is also supposed to be a Brahmin. So Swamiji thought, after all, he must be having some affection on Vedic scholars. And then said, come on, this is already a Vedic conference, you come and then inaugurate it. He said, Swamiji, this is a democratic country. It doesn't look nice if I come and inaugurate it, If they think it's a religious thing. He objected. And then he took a bag and said, you bring all of them to our Rashtrapati Bhavan. Swamiji, it's okay. So with few Vedic scholars, Swamiji went to Rashtrapati Bhavan, and there just he gave his blessings, because having once started the discussion, it should be peaceful. So he gave blessings and just he came and then he started the activity. When the V.V. Giri himself is not interested coming, how the Prime Minister comes? Because in India, Prime Minister is more powerful. But surprisingly, one day morning, a call came from Prime Minister's office that Madam is interested to visit the Vedic conference. Everybody was, surprised. But anyway, arrangements were done. She gave time for 15 minutes. And Swamiji received her and took her around and showed all the places where there are chantings and havans and things going on like that. But when she came to the scholars, where the Andhra Vedic scholars were chanting the Veda, she was very much stuck up with the chantings. And then she sat down listening to that Veda Gana, because Andhra scholars studying Veda Gana is something super. So they raise the pitch, and when they chant, oh God, that's where the pitch goes. And again the roof shakes. That's how the sound comes for them. When all they together were chanting, and then she was awestruck. And then she spent 45 minutes, though she gave 15 minutes time. 45 minutes, she just forgot the total time. The people from behind were saying, Madam, time. Nothing. That that's how the whole event went on very well. In 1974, Swamiji started doing some sort of renovation work to the temples. Then he started All India Vedic Conference. No, it's All India Temple Renovation Committee. He started to renovate the temples. After this yajna is over, Rigvedam is only the one which is used to offer the oblations into the fire. However, for other Vedas, there is no system as such before. During that Vedic conference, there were decisions taken by all the scholars. The Havan can be done with the Yajurveda, done with the Samaveda, also done with the Atharva Veda. To make an experiment, Swami took those, I think about 300 scholars out of the whole Vedic scholars to Badrikashramam. First performed Brahma Yajna there in Badrinath. And then it became a system. In 7 days, we can finish it. That was the system made. Swami thought, why can't we do another 108 of this kind? Started in 1974, I think probably it was November. And then Swamiji started performing, took a sankalpa to perform 108 Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnas. And then the movement started. It started from Ahmedabad of Andhra Pradesh, Srikakulam district. Swamiji was performing a third yaga in Kakinada again. That was 1975. And the program was started probably in the second week of January and is going to be concluded on 12th of January. That was the time when this dasa was blessed by the Swamiji. We were in Rajamahendri somehow, for some reason, we were not a devotee at all. We were not a religious person at all. Probably we were against to that. Yes. We were arguing with people who used to say something about God and stuff like that. And nobody used to, give proper answers to us. That was how we were. But for some reason we were in Rajamahendri and we were forced to go to Kakinada on 12th, that last day of the yagam. And there we met with Swamiji on 12th morning at about probably 5 o'clock in the morning, in the Brahma Muhurta. And then Swamiji, the powerful divine grace fallen on this fallen soul, and then he wanted to use it as his tool. That's all it is. Next day, actually Swamiji's program after finishing the yagam on 13th of January, his program was for Srirangam directly. But I don't know what happened. Swamiji changed his program and he said, next day we are coming to Rajamahendri. You go and give the information there. We were instructed to go there and give the information and make some initial arrangements. We were actually knowing some sort of stenography in those days, So we were a stenographer, basically. So then Swamiji came to Rajamahendri and he stayed there on 13th and then he made an announcement and just we need a stenographer. It was again surprising. And then we went to Swamiji and said, it seems that you need a stenographer, right? He said, of course. Then can I take the job? He asked. Okay, but you have to move with us. We were very much fascinated in moving. From the childhood, we were very much interested in tours. Getting into some bus and just going from this place to that place, from that place to this place. That was very fascinating habit. So we thought, From this is the best chance. Because he's having a big bus. And every day he moves. We can see so many places. We can move always the bus. They said, no problem, welcome. They said, take your permission. Take permission from your mother. And then you can join. And then we went to mother and asked her permission. And she said, okay, you can go. If he wants, and if you are interested, you can go. Just a blank check she has given. And then, but the Gopalacharya Swamiji who was there was objecting, it's not very young, it's not at all, having any stuff inside, how can we accept, this kind of person was the Swamiji. But Gopalacharya Swamiji was there and said, you need some work and he knows that work, that's all it is, come on, take it. So Gopalacharya Swamiji recommended and then we joined Swamiji. 1975, January 14 is the first day we were in Swamiji. And we came with Swamiji, we started traveling with Swamiji. And we came to Nedigadepalam. Swamiji started a school there. And then he went to Nellore. From Nellore he visited Sri Perundur, Kanchipuram, Tirumangayalvar Dividesas. And from there he went to Srirangam. And then from Srirangam again he came to Tirumala, visiting again some more Dividesas. At the first stroke itself, so many Dividesas. Because Swamiji's movement was the temple renovation committee. So visiting every temple, what are the works to be done, how the situation is, how can we improve it. There was a big plan, a project for that. Yajnas were being conducted, renovation also was being simultaneously going on. In 108 Dividesas, almost 72 Dividesas, more than 70 Dividesas were in Tamil Nadu. All the 72 Dividesas were taken for renovation by Swamiji. And they were done also. Making the files and moving the files, that was our duty. A old small typewriter, which was maybe it was half damaged typewriter. It was listening only our words. If somebody handed the bar used to run like this to the end. So we only know how to keep the typewriter and how to type it. That was our skill in those days. So when Swamiji visited all the temples, he used to give the dictation. So this is the work to be done. It might cost this much. Swamiji's estimate was exact. He used to know how much exactly it cost. No? The roof is damaged. To remove the roof, stones, and reset the stones, and to redo the ceiling and everything. These many thousands will cost. Swami used to make all the estimates. And then we used to type them and we used to send to the people whoever are concerned with those things. That's how we were with Swamiji since 1975, 76, 77, February. Swamiji sent us to Nedigadepalam Ashram for studies. So we went there. So that is how Swamiji made the world record yagas, world record activities. Any activity he touches, it is the first of its kind in the history of the Vedic law. No one ever attempted such things. Swamiji went to Vanamalai also, at the first stroke itself. We were pretty new then. Swamiji visited his guru, that Dotadil Swamiji, who was very much ripened, with white hair, white beard. He was just laid down on the bed, not able to move, because by the time itself he was probably 90 plus. Very much ripened, white person. Swamiji just went there and he was folding his hands and standing just on the side of him. The photo is still there with us. Then the Dotadil Swamiji asked Swamiji, Uvikkollum kalam innu kurukado Sriman Narayana. He used to call our Swamiji as Srimanarayana. When you call me to your place, when you take me to your lotus feet, he was asking Jeeyar Swamiji. Swamiji used to say, Swamiji, I am your dasa. I am just your dasa. But he used to say, come on, take me to your feet, hey Ramanuja, hey Srimanarayana. Because Swamiji's name was Srimanarayana, Ramanuja, Jeeyar Swami. But people in those areas used to call him as Andhra Jeeyar. Because he is from Andhra Pradesh, because the Tamil Nadu and India were divided, Andhra Pradesh were divided in 56. So people used to call him as Andhra Jeeyar, Andhra Jeeyar. That's how he was very famous. But after seeing our Jeeyar Swamiji, even sannyasis, even the Jeeyars in Tamil Nadu came to know this is the way a sannyasi has to be. This is the process a Vaishnava sannyasi should be. Probably this is the way Ramanujacharya was. That's how even people used to think. By seeing Swamiji, I think, no question, south, north, mid, everybody used to like Swamiji, everybody used to be with Swamiji, everybody participated in activities of Swamiji. So Swamiji during his lifetime, he made a wonderful bridge between different sections of the society, like North Indians, South Indians and Mid-Indians. Everybody participated in the activities. And during his time, Smartas, during the Ramakratos, there were not many people involved because Swamiji, Gopalacharya Swamiji and Kaviratta Swamiji, our Venugopal's, Sitappa, his father's brother. All these three were there. And some people to perform the Havan and stuff like that. Only, I think, 5-6 people used to lead the whole thing. That's how they used to move. But when the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnas was started, all the Vedic scholars. So, for all the 4 Vedas, scholars used to be with Swamiji. Then, Smartas and Vaishnavas, all that together used to participate. From his childhood itself, see, all the ladies from the villages, he invited all of them out, and evening we are going to do the Lakshmi Puja, sitting all in lines and taking the murti and then doing the puja. This system was not accepted in olden days. Yes, Sukravara, Rama Puja, Karya Nirvahana Prati. Sukravara Rama Puja was not accepted, but as we do today. In those days, ladies coming out and doing pujas was strictly prohibited. You go to the temple as a group and you give something to the priest, and the priest does the puja for you. That's all. You take prasad and go home. That was the system. But Swamiji in 1930s itself made all the ladies sit in the lines and give them the Lakshmi and give them puja material. Teach them how to do Acharanam. That's what we are doing right now. This is what Swamiji started. Do this way Acharanam. Do this way the puja. Inviting Lord and sending off the Lord for doing the puja. All this is actually Swamiji made. So many people even would object it. From villages. Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra chanting, no ladies used to do. Bhagavad Gita chanting, no ladies. Ramayana chanting, no ladies used to touch even the books. They were not permitted. That was how they were kept. But it was all broken by Swamiji and said, everybody should participate. Vedas, because they have swaras, they are limited to Vedic scholars. Leave them. Leaving Vedas, anything can be chanted by all the ladies also. Invite them. So Swamiji was the you should not see today. You have to think the situation in 1920s and 30s. How rigid people were in those days. In those days, Swamiji brought them all. Of course, once the system comes out, everybody will use it. Having started the trend, now all the missionaries and so many other organizations and so many people started doing that. And now, of course, it became very, very common practice. And so many things also added and deleted, stuff like that. comes out, then it's our choice. Then Vidaku Puja, Idinda Puja, Anda Puja, this and that. So many things came up. A strong religious, a highly revolutionist, and a Vedic and an orthodox scholar who fought for the nation, who fought for the freedom, not just freedom of the body, but freedom of the soul, who took a big movement, is the Swamiji. And fortunate enough, we are blessed to serve him. We are so blessed to just see him. 1975 was the time when we first had a first encounter with Swamiji. We don't know who Swamiji was till then. And then Swamiji gave the initiation, sent us to the school and gave the knowledge, and again brought us to this stage. And the deities which we have is the one he used to worship during his lifetime. And this is the way he is appearing now in front of us. So blessed we are to be called as his disciples. After Ramanuja, we don't know there are so many acharyas in the lineage, but no one ever made this much of prachar. He went to Nepal also. He made 3 Ramakathas there in Nepal. It was 1964. And such a great acharya appeared on this day, sanctified this earth. And so blessed we are to perform his Tirnakshatrasam. Was in a very, very small way here. And let us chant his Ashtottara Shata Namas. We have the books with us, and all together chant them. And we chant the names very slowly, so that all of you also can just join. Okay?